and this is the 5th floor. Now, do you know what a wedding crasher is? Well, basically it's someone who turns up to a wedding celebration uninvited to make the most of the party. Most wedding crashers try their best to blend in, but that can prove to be a bit more difficult if you are a rhino.
This rhino, what gate crashing, a wedding party. There were people who were there, music was going on, people were enjoying their food and all that, and suddenly it appears, and then it enters the party, and people started taking selfie, and it looks there for a while, and then it decides that, okay, none of those food is for me. Then what it does, it goes towards the lawn, where still there's all this, lights and beautiful things. So it spots that there's greenery there. So I think it's about his food mainly. Food with a bit of ease.
That opportunistic and hungry rhino is called Meghauli. He can often be found roaming the streets of Sauraha, a town in southern Nepal, with confidence. In fact, he's become something of a celebrity, with many locals and visitors stopping to have selfies with the majestic creature. But how did he get there in the first place? My colleague, Navin Singh Hatka, recently went to Nepal to film Meghauli and can tell us more.
We opened the video with the rhino walking right in the middle of the street and people taking selfies, going to it and taking selfies, and he doesn't mind. He just slowly walks, as if he's saying, carry on, guys. I'm here, don't worry. And people don't seem to be threatened. They all seem to enjoy, and he's okay with that. This city where Meghauli roams about, Sauraha, adjoins the Chitwan National Park. The Chitwan National Park has been able to protect more than 700 rhinos, around 130 tigers, and so many other species. And that is where he comes from. I have been to that national park several times in the past. Mostly they do elephant safari riding. And the rhinos are far away. You don't go near to them. You just leave them alone because they can be aggressive, particularly if they have calves. But this was a different story. I was standing next to the rhino and talking about him, and he just looks at me and then, oh, carry on, do your business. I'm here to do my business. So some 8 years ago, there was a major flood. This rhino was a calf then. It is almost an adult rhino now. And it got separated from his mother. And then conservationists, the park officials, they had to rescue him out. And these conservationists got hold of him and then brought him to this conservation site, which is just outside the national park. And that is where it has started growing up, They started feeding him milk, basically fostered him. And then slowly this rhino started, going out to the premises of the conservation site where people would come to see him. And then slowly it started jumping the fence and started walking outside slowly. The Chitwan National Park is guarded by the army. So army soldiers would be escorting it. It got the escorts, could walk around, and then slowly it doesn't need any escort anymore. It knows the terrain, it knows that place, it knows everything, and it refuses to go back to the wild to stay there permanently. Not that it doesn't go back to the park at all. It does go there and then keeps on coming back, back and forth, back and forth. When I checked with locals, Meghauli, what does he do as his routine? The most common line was, well, it all depends on his mood. He loves to dip into the ponds. He dips into the pond, lazes around, sits there, and then it comes out and then roams about the city. I mean, the way it walks, I was looking at it, it gives you the feeling that he knows every nook and corner. And on the top of that, he knows where are those farms, where are the lawns, the hotel lawns, and that is where it goes. So it's got a variety of choices. In the past 2 years, park authorities and conservationists had to rescue 4 other calves. And those 4 other calves were attacked by tigers. And that's how they were separated from their mothers. So when we were filming Meghauli, then we were also shown these calves who are being fostered, so to say, by these conservationists just outside the Chitwan National Park. Up until now, they are more or less confined to that site. But we don't know what happens in the future. And actually, that is why there are concerns. Look, they keep on coming out like this. They are mingling up with local people. They are touching them. looks like that calf is even posing for camera. When we were filming these calves, we could see that they were reaching out to people. People were even giving them something to eat. And I was told that they sometimes jump over the fence and go out. But the carers tend to bring them back because they're still quite small. So that's a big question. What happens when they, start roaming around? Obviously, there might be some consequences and people are worried. When I spoke to tourism entrepreneurs, one hotel operator, Jit Tamang, he was quite jubilant. He was saying that, wow, this is what we have. And this is a unique case of humans and rhinos coexisting. And the news has spread around the world. And that's why people from around the world come to see us now. The major draw is the selfie with the rhino. And also local, domestic tourists, people from Nepal itself keep coming there. So others like him, tourism entrepreneurs, were happy that there would be other calves joining this, and there would be even better example of coexistence and so on and so forth. But not everyone is happy. When we spoke to conservationists, for example, what they're saying is the intention was not to make them urban rhinos. The idea was to foster them and then rewild them. They were taking them to the riverside, to the grassland where they were munching and enjoying, brushing past me as well. But what they're saying is rewilding them has been a major challenge because people's love has got into them. And that's why, like Meghauli, they don't want to go back. They get all this care, love, and food, not to forget. And they were also mentioning things like salt, for example. Salt is something people offer in their food, and rhinos, when they get the habit of salt, they don't get salt like that in the wild. Imagine hotels, creating pools for them. So they know that those pools are for them to splash around. And these conservationists were saying that, of course, it's a good example that people are coexisting with rhinos, but if there are many of them, then there might be consequences. There might be conflicts between rhinos, or even too many rhinos. There might be accidents. So that's why they're a bit worried. We were waiting for this rhino in a nearby community forest where it was just, resting in a pond. But then it disappeared. And we started looking for it. And then there was one woman almost crying. And she was telling, can you stop it? Can you stop it? And I said, what? What happened? Then she said, that rhino has gone into my farm. I know it's going to destroy my plants now. It was pitch dark. I couldn't see anything there. But later on, our crew went there with light. And what we saw was the rhino was munching on tomato plants. It tends to come out like this and sometimes enter people's farm like that, eat up their crops, and therefore some locals are very angry. We were using that light. It was a powerful light. And the rhino didn't mind at all. It kept on eating and eating, And that woman was very, very upset. So, yes, there's an issue there. So I think the question is still up there. What happens in the future?
That was the BBC World Service Environment correspondent Navin Singh Khatka.